106.6.
Good afternoon, you're listening to DVD Fever Show with Don Robinson on Manchester's 106.6, and this is a new weekly show. Well, it's been going about 5 weeks now, where I look through the week's releases in movies and video games, plus the charts, a look at what's new on TV, and news for all three. DVDfever.co.uk is a non-profit website and has recently had a revamp, so please take a look. If you've got anything to say about anything that you hear on the show, please get in touch via the Facebook page. Just search for the DVD Fever Show with Don Robinson, and you'll find it on there. And if you want to add me on Facebook, at the moment I've got a picture up of me with a cartoon head mask from Ideal, from a flash mob about 3 weeks ago, which I mentioned at the time. So I think there's a link to there on the Facebook page as well. By the way, the cartoon head mask's much better than my own face anyway. And coming up in the show this week, we got a review of the Blu-ray of Don't Look Now. It's a special edition to the cult film that's come out this week. Top 10 movie charts, some new cinema releases, including Transformers 3 and Larry Crown. Look at the new DVD releases, including Lord of the Rings on Blu-ray and Yogi Bear, and some film news. But also, I have a guest this week, and it's John Roslin, a good friend of mine, who I knew from university. He's the director of iFilms. Hi, John, how you doing?
I'm fine, thanks. How are you?
I'm not too bad.
Good.
He's got some good weather for your trip up here today. Now, what John's up to most of the moment is he directs a number of short films, and the latest one is a film called Land of Dreams. Now, I'll put a link to this on the Facebook page so you can have a look on there as well. It's a short film by John, based on a script by Alexander Novosad. David dreams of a new life, of greater spirituality, of a break with modern existence. He must leave behind the empty materialism of his life and seek a greater connection with the earth on which he lives. He tells his girlfriend Ruth how the dream made him feel alive. And in real life, he goes to the field, but does he find the answers to everything? You want to tell us a bit more about that, John?
I don't know if he finds the answers to anything, to be quite honest. When we were filming it at something like 3:30 in the morning, because we wanted to catch the sunrise, and we certainly found a lot of answers, like how we should go to bed earlier and get up a little bit later. Yeah, the films, I was sent the script by a Russian writer called Alexander Shishkin. I think it was the end of March. Mm-hmm. He just sent me the script unsolicited, and normally I don't take a look at things like that. I just kind of ignore them, and really I kind of solicit my own stuff. But I read his script. It was only 3 pages, and it really jumped off the page at me. It was really very visual. And the themes in it about characters facing great change and questioning their reality, they were the kinds of things that I was wanting to get into in terms of directing. So I was kind of drawn to his script, and I went to meet him in Sheffield about a week or so later. Yeah. And he was a very, very big, imposing Russian guy. And he was very, very passionate about the script and about the story, and I think he had originally wanted to direct it, but for one reason and another he'd never got round to it. Yeah. I think, technical expertise available to him and his own lack of experience, he'd not got round to it. But I was very happy to buy the rights off of him for it, so I did that. Yeah. And I worked with the producer. I worked with Rob Yeomans, who I've worked with on a number of occasions now. We know each other really, really well in terms of our working style and how we work. So he came on board and he sorted the crew out. And we picked various actors and actresses, and it went from there. Yeah. There's all sorts of other issues, like the actors and actresses that we picked, setting locations and funding and things. There were issues around all of those. But really, it was a pretty easy film to make. I was pretty clear on how I wanted it to look. It had been well storyboarded and well vision boarded. Yeah. And it was just a case of getting the finance together and getting it made, which we did in a day. Took us a day to film it. Yeah. 28th of May, which was fortunately a good weather day.
Don't get too many of them.
No, I don't get too many of them where it was filmed.
And you've had some other short films as well. One in particular, I remember, was I came to the premiere about 3 years ago. A film called The Secret, which is about a young lad called David who arrived a bit late for school just after the bus had drawn up and classes had begun. As he took his seat, he was ignored by his teacher when attempting to answer questions, despite clearly wanting to impart the information. But other children were sneering at him, while at the back, a girl called Rosie asked the teacher to go easy on him because he doesn't know yet about the secret, and adds with a chilling air, "But he will do soon." and little by little the realisation kicks in, but when you think you've sussed it out, it's really not quite what you think. But it'll be telling to say what the secret is. I mean, the link for that is on the Facebook page as well. Do you want to tell us a bit about that?
Yeah, that was I was doing. I didn't start my background. I didn't qualify in film. I had a background in education for about 11 or 12 years, and I became more interested in media consultancy with schools, and then I got asked to work on films and so on. And so I my film career grew out of that. But the secret was, I was doing some supply teaching, and I had this idea for this story, and it turned on its head a lot of familiar twists in the tale that had been done in a number of other films, which I'll not say because it'll give the twist away. Excuse me, but I just had this, I just liked this idea of doing this short film that kind of really grabbed the audience by the sense of isolation that this character feels in the school. And when the film eventually won an award in 2009 called the IAC Festival, it won a 4-star Premier Award, and the judges commented on how the film really captured that sense of isolation for some children at school, the imposing building, and how they can sometimes feel lost in it, and how that can distort their reality and their perception of things. But the secret was the proper professionally crewed film that I'd made. My producer on that was Mariana Segenhout, who works for 2AM Films now down in London. She had a really, really successful career. She was fantastic on that, really, really good. And we filmed it locally in Rotherham. And it was, I was really, really pleased with it. There was just a little bit too long between that one and the next one, which was George's Angel, which was made last year. For one reason or another. But yeah, you can see the secret is it's on the iFilms Facebook page as well. It's also on YouTube, but it often gets confused with the Rosie Byrne Secret movie about self-empowerment. So if you just type iFilms The Secret, it's on there.
It'll be in there. You mentioned the film in between two, the George's Angel. Tell us a bit about that.
Yeah, we did this. This was filmed in 2000 and what year are we in now? 11. This was filmed in 2010. On an absolutely freezing cold night in March. It was that cold actually. The battery packs all drained because of the cold, so the makeup artist had to keep blowing them with a hairdryer to warm them back up again towards the end of filming. But George's Angel is basically a story of a young girl, teenage girl about 14 years old, who has one or two issues at home and doesn't want to stay at home, has an argument with her mum at the start, and then she takes herself off with the intention of finding somewhere else to live. And she finds herself very late one night on a railway station, and there's a shadowy figure at one end of the railway station who is a kind of temptation for her. And then she's joined on the railway station by an elderly gentleman, a very grandfatherly figure played by Wayne Russell, who starred in a recent DVD release, Curio. He won Best Actor at the Los Angeles United Film Festival as well. A very, very talented actor. He's been on TV in a couple of things, and I've worked with him on a number of occasions. He played the character called Clarence, who is kind of like Clarence in It's a Wonderful Life, the Franz Kafka film. Excuse me. And he imparts to her, some advice about how she should think twice about what she's doing, and eventually, using a little bit of magic, he shows her what her future could be like if she just dives into making a decision about what to do and where to go with her life. So it's kind of the film's about choice, and it's about destiny, and it's about that distorted reality, which is in my a theme in the films I'm making. But it's also, a kind of homage to films like A Christmas Carol and It's a Wonderful Life, which I mentioned previously. A little bit of an indulgence for me. The kind of things I'm wanting to work on now, thematically and stylistically, are kind of moving away from those narrative type of films, those solid narratives, and into something a little bit more, I don't know, where the story and the themes are a little bit more subtle and maybe a little bit more, I don't want to use the word intellectual, but it's the only thing that springs to mind at the moment. Something that challenges the audience.
Have you got sort of ideas of what's to have next, or what you're working on?
We've got, Rob, who's my producer, graduate from York University a couple of years ago, he the kind of films he is wanting to direct and make are very, very different to mine. He's a very big fan of John Carpenter and horror, and he's I think he's wanting to direct stuff that's a lot more like that, and we've got plans for a a feature film, if we can get the funding for it, called Bite, which is about a 15-year-old boy who's bullied at school, and who gets an awesome revenge on his bullies. Yeah. But I'm not going into too much more about that. And the next project for me, I think I've got a couple of things on the go. We've got a series of short films called 5 Pillars, which were about what it would be like to live in secular Britain today. What does that mean? What is what is it? What do we mean by things like community and identity and race issues and stuff like that in Britain? And those 5 films, I think, I want them to form the basis of a feature film called In England, which I'd like to make next year. But I really want to make the 5 short films first to kind of get the ideas stretched out and drawn out. Rather than just dive in with the script. Kind of let the script evolve first. And I've had a script sent to me. No, I didn't send it. That's not true. I requested it from someone. Because, as I said, I don't really accept unsolicited stuff. It's called Diary of My Dreams by an Indian writer from Mumbai. So I'm going to have a look at that. That kind of seems to follow the stuff I'm doing. Good
stuff. When did you start? When did you first found iFilms?
Back in 2007. I'd got as far as I really wanted to get or could get with the teaching career. I wasn't getting the deputy headship that I wanted. And I'd had countless interviews, and it was clear it just wasn't for me anymore. So I left and did some media consultancy work, working in schools, teaching teachers how to use digital photography and digital cameras and software, and develop creativity in the classroom, because that was a very big thing at the time. A lot of teachers were wanting to do that. And then I got asked to work as a runner on a short film called Mother Mine, which was produced by Rob Speranza, who founded the South Yorkshire Filmmakers Network. And I did some running work on that. I'd then done some other running work and production assistant work on TV commercials, some work with Ricky Gervais and Paul Daniels. And it just kind of grew from that. And with me doing my own stuff, iFilms got asked to do less and less of the creative teaching education side of things, and more to do corporate stuff, corporate videos. So we ended up working with clients like Best Western and local councils and so on and so forth. And that gave me the opportunity then to kind of divert my attention to short filmmaking and the stuff that I wanted to do when I wanted to do it, basically.
Oh, that's good stuff. Okay, before we do anything else, we're going to have another song, and in a moment we're going to be having the Love's theme from the Love Unlimited Orchestra. Listen to the DVD Fever show with Don Robinson, and this is Manchester's 106.6.
106.6.
Okay, that was Love's theme from the Love Unlimited Orchestra, and you're back with the DVD Fever show with Don Robinson, and I'm Dom, and I'm here with a special guest today, John Rosling. Hello.
Hello.
How you doing?
I'm still all right. Yep.
Good. Now, first of all, we're going to have a quick look. There's a review of Don't Look Now, which has come out on Blu-ray this week, which is the first time it's been out. I think it's meant to be like a special edition, but then they tag special edition onto everything these days. Now, I hadn't seen Don't Look Now prior to its debut on Blu-ray, but with Nicholas Roeg at the helm, it's got to have some dodgy shenanigans in it. And I don't just mean the 70s perm and tash supported by Donald Sutherland as John Baxter, whose job involves restoring churches. After their daughter dies early on, and without explanation other than simply falling under the surface of the water of the lake, they go to work in Venice while their son stays back in England in a boarding school. And they go to a restaurant where John's wife, Laura, Julie Christie, helps another patron to the bathroom to help get something out of her eye. Her sister is blind and suddenly comes out with bizarre phrases such as, "I can see you're sad," and "I've seen your little girl sitting between you and your husband, and she was laughing." Laura collapses and is taken to hospital, where she tells John ecstatically how Christine is still with us, which leads him to think she's completely lost her marbles. In addition to this, with the blind woman seemingly following them around, a discussion about venturing into the world of contacting the dead and seeing a girl running around Venice in a red coat. Maybe they're both losing the plot. Then again, this comes from the hand of Nicholas Roeg, who proves there is many a visual touch which can only come from him. Overall, however, this is not a film I can recommend. File it under one of Roeg's what the hell films, which throw in everything, including the kitchen sink, and just end up being weird for the sake of weird. It also rambles on far too long and could easily be cut down to 90 minutes. And I know it's a cult classic, but no one here is particularly pushing the boat out in the acting stakes, even Christie and Sutherland. Presented in the original theatrical ratio in 1080p high definition, the picture I found was very soft, and this is clearly due to the way it was filmed. But it did make me wonder why they bothered to release it as a Blu-ray disc, because it can't really benefit from the format. Add to this the frequent sort of haziness that applies to so many of Optimum's Blu-ray releases, which has been happening since they first began, so don't appear to be doing anything about it. While things do improve a bit as it goes on, I can't see what you'd have to gain over conventional DVD. Audio-wise, the film was only ever made with a mono soundtrack, so there's nothing to shout about here, other than the fact that sometimes it's clear, sometimes it's muffled. It's like someone's playing about with a treble and bass. It's a problem that I understand was evident with the DVD, and that the disc released in America addressed this issue, so why we've still got it here for the Blu-ray is anyone's guess. There are some extras on the disc. You can watch the film with an introduction by Alan Jones, who, I have to confess I don't know who Alan Jones is, but he spells out some of the basics in the film and spends about 7 minutes either stating the obvious or talking a right load of old rubbish. There's also a featurette called Looking Back, where Nicholas Roeg, plus the cinematographer Anthony Richmond and the editor Graham Clifford, well, they look back. It goes into detail about the film, so anyone who's a fan will get a lot out of this. There's also some interviews on the disc, 5 interviews, including the cinematographer, plus one with Donald Sutherland. There's also one with Danny Boyle, whose his presence will be explained in the next extra, which is a compressed version of the film made by Danny Boyle for a BAFTA tribute. Now, running 4.5 minutes, I thought, that's better. At least you don't have to sit through nearly 2 hours of guff. But seriously, it's short on dialogue, so it doesn't exactly serve as a replacement. There's a feature called Nothing Is As It Seems, which was just more pontificating this time from a psychiatrist, plus a trailer and a director's commentary from Nicholas Roeg. Now, yeah, I didn't think too much of this. I'd give the film 4 out of 10. If you're into it, then the extras, they're not too bad, so you may want it for them. But I can't recommend it based on the picture or the sound. So yeah, film 4 out of 10, and overall 5 out of 10 for the package. Have you seen this film, John?
I have. I saw this a couple of years ago, actually. Me and my wife had heard about this, and I think it was recently voted the best British horror film ever, wasn't it? It came number 1, yeah. Typical. And I have to say, I agree with a lot of what you've said in terms of the storytelling. I know Nicholas Roeg is a very, very established and a very well-considered filmmaker and has done some really groundbreaking stuff in his career. Mm-hmm. But the sense of disappointment I felt when I got to the end of this film was I felt cheated. Yeah. Again, I'm not going to spoil the ending for people who've not seen it, but I just felt that the filmmakers were just completely cheating us by the way that they ended it. Yeah. I mean, in places it is quite beautiful. The tender moments between Julie Christie and Donald Sutherland, I think, were very well done, very realistically done. And if you, excuse me, believe the rumours, they were very realistically done. And some of the shots of Venice in the winter, I think, the cinematographer and Roeg, they capture that coldness of a city that you normally associate with summer really, really well. But just as a film, I struggled to see what it was getting at and what it was getting to. Yeah. And all the themes of psychological breakdown, and he's trying to build this church back up as a way of reconstructing his life and his own mentality and psychology after his daughter's death. I get all that, but it just didn't inspire me, really. No. It seemed a bit, both story-wise, it seemed flat. Yeah. And as I say, the greatest disappointment was the ending, where I felt very cheated, and both me and my wife looked at each other in kind of almost incredulity when we got to the end. And the big reveal at the end. So I'm at a loss to understand why it's so highly regarded by people. Yeah, I thought that as well, because it just sort of, you get to the end and it's just like, Yeah, I think I don't know whether people regard an aspect of the film as being particularly good. For example, its cinematography, or maybe the soundtrack, and that then transfers itself to regarding the whole film as being very good. I don't know, maybe I'll have to get the Blu-ray and watch the extras and see if it can convince me, but no, it wasn't something I'd particularly enjoyed when I saw it.
No. What directors have influenced you?
Quite a few, really. I mean, I think, I grew up like yourself. I grew up in the late 70s and the 1980s watching a lot of George Lucas films and Steven Spielberg films.
Yeah.
So, in terms of storytelling and telling those kind of kids' adventures, I've always been quite inspired by that and by the enjoyment of childhood. Although both George Lucas and Steven Spielberg have moved away from those kinds of stories now.
Yeah.
Spielberg's had to have J.J. Abrams drag him back to it with Super 8. But, those kinds of films were the kinds of films I watched when I was younger. Since I kind of matured, both as an individual and as a filmmaker, and as a result of the Keele University Film Club, I used to, which we were both patrons of, I believe, on Tuesdays, Fridays and Sundays.
Yeah.
I kind of got introduced to a wider range of directors. Stanley Kubrick, as with most students of film, was a great inspiration of mine.
Yeah.
He's clean, his cinematography was clean, his stories were, thematically linked. He was, a very, very talented storyteller. More recently, Darren Aronofsky is someone who I'm watching a lot of stuff by. I thought Black Swan was absolutely fantastic film, really, really good. And I was fortunate enough to sit down and watch Pi last week, which was his first film.
Not seen that one.
Yeah, he was at the stage that I'm at as a filmmaker, where he was raising money from family and friends in order to get his film made.
Yeah.
And kind of shooting it on the streets of New York with people watching out for the police because they didn't have permission to film it. And when Artisan Pictures bought that off him for £1 million, it cost him, I think it cost him something like $600,000 to make, or something, or $60,000 maybe to make, and he got £1 million for it from Artisan Pictures, and it made his name. So, he got the kind of break that I'm looking for right now. Krzysztof Kozlowski was, I think, the one person, the one filmmaker who came out of the Keele University Film Club screenings that we went to. I don't know if you recall, but the Sunday nights was usually an international film.
Oh, yeah.
We had films like Le Chateau de ma Mère and Fracture de Miocard and... the names escape me now. Oh, Europa was another one I remember we went to see. And Kozlowski's films, the Three Colours, they were shown. And the Double Life of Veronique, which was
that's one of my favourites.
Yeah, very, very influential film on me as well. Particularly over a script, like Land of Dreams, where you could see that script be made in that style of film. Yeah. So I think in terms of look and in terms of the types of films I want to do, I'm more along that Aronofsky, Kozlowski, Kubrick type, all the K's in there, Kubrick type of film now, rather than making the, action movies, comedy movies, black comedy horror films. Yeah. I've been involved with stuff like that, and the feature we're involved with now is like that, but it won't be me directing it.
No.
I'll just sit at the back with my loud hailer and tell people what to do.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'll tell people what to do. I think with that we'll have another song. We're going to have Bobby Womack and Across 110th Street, which I think was used at the start of Jackie Brown.
Jackie Brown is a film I've only seen the once, and it's one of my favourite Tarantino films. But I've only seen it the once.
I think I've seen it 2 or 3 times. Well, it's the kind of thing you watch it in full, and then you sort of see lots of bits when it's on telly now and again. But anyway, this is Bobby Womack, Across 110th Street. It's the DVD Fever show with Don Robinson, and this is Manchester's 106.6.
106.6.
Okay, that was Bobby Womack and Across 110th Street. You're listening to Manchester's 106.6, and this is the DVD Fever show with Don Robinson, and my guest today who's John Rosling. Hello.
Hello.
Okay, in this section we're going to start off with a look at the movie charts. Now, again, there's no UK charts. There's, I don't know what's happened to them. Wherever you used to be able to get them, they all seem to have disappeared, but even on the Internet Movie Database. But we've now got we've got the American charts, and so going straight in at number 1, we've got Cars 2. Now I've put a trailer for this. I could go into a big long description about what happens in it, but it's a film that's doesn't really need any introduction. You can see the trailer on the thing, but I mean, to me, CGI kids films aren't really my bag, because they just seem so ten a penny and never seem to have any heart to them, and they just keep pumping them out in droves.
Ooh, brave words there.
Oh yeah, it's just, I don't know, they just don't grab me. They grab you?
Yeah, some of them do. I mean, I saw obviously Toy Story 3, which everybody raved about in the past 12 months. I thought that was really good, but the one that really impressed me was How to Train Your Dragon.
Right.
I thought that was far better than Toy Story 3, and I thought the animation in it, the story was better.
Right.
But I'm stuck at home at the moment watching Tangled on DVD repeat because I've got a 4-year-old daughter at home. All she wants to do is just grow her hair long like Rapunzel and marry someone like Flynn in it. So yeah, that's my bag with CGI films for kids.
Then at number 2, number 2, we've got Bad Teacher with Cameron Diaz. Then we've got number 3, The Green Lantern. Number 4, Super 8. Number 5, Mr. Popper's Penguins. Number 6, X-Men First Class. Number 7, The Hangover Part 2. Number 8, Bridesmaids, which is now out in the UK. Number 9, Pirates of the Caribbean on Stranger Tides. And number 10, Midnight in Paris. And some of the cinema releases out this week. The main one, or the big one, is Transformers Dark of the Moon. Again, I've got trailers for all these on the Facebook page. Now, the Autobots, Bumblebee, Ratchet, Ironhide and Sideswipe, led by Optimus Prime, are back in action taking on the evil Decepticons, who are determined to avenge their defeat in 2009's Transformers Revenge of the Fallen. In this new movie, the Autobots and the Decepticons become involved in a perilous space race between the US and Russia, and once again, human Sam Witwicky has to come to the aid of his robot friends. There's new characters too, including a new villain in the form of Shockwave, a long-time Transformers character, who rules Cybertron, while the Autobots and the Decepticons battle it out on Earth. Directed by Michael Bay, this is rumoured to be the last film in the series, and the same goes for Shia LaBeouf. It also stars Patrick Dempsey, Francis McDormand, John Malkovich, and Rosie Huntington-Whiteley, a model-turned-actress who replaces Megan Fox because she was sacked from the film after Hollywood legend Steven Spielberg demanded this because he was outraged after the Scream Beauty compared Michael Bay to Hitler during a press interview. Now I have to say, for my money, Transformers 3 is one I'll be giving a miss to, because I saw the original, and after one long fight after another between the good robots and the bad, and given the film ran for about 2.5 hours, I was actually starting to get rather bored. But another big film that's out this week is Larry Crowne. Now, until he was downsized, affable, amiable Larry Crowne, played by Tom Hanks, was a superstar team leader at the big box company where he's worked since his time in the Navy. Underwater on his mortgage and unclear on what to do with his suddenly freed days, Larry heads to his local college to start over. There he becomes part of a colourful community of outcasts, also Rands and the Overlooked, all trying to find a better future for themselves, often moving around town in a herd of scooters. In his public speaking class, Larry develops an unexpected crush on his teacher, Mercedes Tanoir, Julia Roberts, who has lost as much passion for teaching as she has for her husband. The simple guy who has every reason to think his life has stalled will come to learn an unexpected lesson. When you think everything worth having has passed you by, you just might discover your reason to live. Directed by Tom Hanks, it also stars Dale Dye, Sarah Mahoney and Roxana Ortega. For me, it looks like a typical old-school Tom Hanks comedy, with him prattling about as if he's still in the era of Big. If that's your bag, fine, but, well, I like Big. The humour all looks a bit forced here. Other films out this week, including, and the trailers for these two as well, as The Conspirator and Gangster Kittens. And also there's films called A Separation, Deli Belly, and As If I'm Not There. Now there's going to be no show next week because I'm off on my jollies, but films out next week include The Tree of Life, One for the Money, Holy Rollers, and Trust, a drama starring Clive Owen and directed by David Schwimmer, who was interviewed yesterday on Breakfast, and it looks like a really intriguing and disturbing film about online stalking. But John, you wanted to go back to George's Angel and tell us a bit about that?
Yeah, this was a film that I made in 2010. It was the second professionally crewed film that we'd done, and part of what I'm trying to do as a filmmaker is gather a load of people around me who are talented and creative, who we can work together repeatedly on film, so I don't have to keep recrewing every time.
Yeah.
So I've got Rob Yeomans, who's my producer, does a damn good job at getting crew together and organising the shoots, and we got together and filmed George's Angel, the kind of homage to It's a Wonderful Life, last March. We've got a very talented actress in it, Sophie Platts from Doncaster. Wayne Russell, who I'd worked with before and will be working with again, also very good. He was recently in Curio and The Last Days of Edgar Harding, which I think premiered at the Bradford Film Festival a couple of weeks ago. And Wayne, I think, is going to be quite a big name in film, or certainly in entertainment. He's a very, very talented actor, very, very good. So we went up to Oakworth railway station, which is where they filmed The Railway Children, and filmed there overnight. And it was a good experience. It was nice and quick. We did a couple of days filming in Rotherham as well, and we ended up with a film that's about 8 minutes long. Very good, very well produced. Been at a couple of festivals, so I've been rather pleased with it. We had a couple of problems with it. We had some accidental damage done to some of the equipment when we were making it, which kind of blew a big hole in our budget. So that was delayed for a bit. But I have a blog on the internet at www.johnrosling.com, and I was approached through that blog by a guy called Larry Anderson, who runs Liap Media Inc. in Canada, and he basically offered to fund the completion of George's Angel. He said to me, how much do you think you'll need to get this film finished? And I told him, and so he sent it me, which was very, very generous of him. He was an associate producer on the credit as a result of that, and he has the right to use the film for his educational foundation over in Canada. And he's been very, very supportive. I've had a couple of online chats with him via Skype. He also funded Land of Dreams, funded the production of that in full. And he's interested in the project slate we've got at iFilms, which is the several films I mentioned at the top of your show. So he's been very good to us, and I hope he continues to be very good to us.
Well, let's hope so too. It's got some cracking films to date.
Yeah,
I would love to see more.
Yeah, I think he's looking for stuff that is, good quality, not just people with a video camera running around. And that's not the kind of stuff I want to do. I want to do something that's high quality that can get me to the next level. Land of Dreams was certainly a step up from The Secret and George's Angel in terms of story and quality of filmmaking, and the next one has to maintain that standard. So we're working hard to keep that quality up and to kind of look for those kinds of scripts that allow us to do that. It costs money though, and there's not much money around. There's not much money around for anything, never mind what some people might regard as an indulgence in short filmmaking.
That's short films that lead to longer films.
Yeah, they can lead to longer films and can establish people's careers in the industry. I mean, and even if it doesn't establish me in the industry, maybe the sound guy who I've had on my productions might go on to do stuff. I know that the stills photographer from Land of Dreams is producing a short film for someone in a couple of weeks. So it all comes about as a result. We all kind of work off each other's success.
That's good stuff.
That's good. And I know, Rob, my producer, he worked on The Iron Lady with Meryl Streep a couple of weeks ago. He was doing some location scouting or location management for that. So we're all keeping busy.
Well, that's good to hear. They're going to have another song, and then after this we're going to have a look at the new DVDs that are out this week. And the song that we're going to play us with is Heaven 17 and Foolish Thing to Do. Listen to Manchester's 106.6.
106.6.
That was 717 with Foolish Thing to Do. You're back with the DVD Fever show on with Don Robinson and also my special guest, John Rosling. Hello. Say hello again. I've done another fader up.
Hello. Can you hear that?
It's all back working fine now. In this section, taking us up to the top of the hour, we're looking at the new DVDs out this week. Starting with, it's a long time coming, Lord of the Rings trilogy, the extended edition, finally out on Blu-ray. One of the most magical, intensely spectacular epic adventures in film history comes alive with these extended editions of the trilogy on Blu-ray, boasting unsurpassed high-definition picture and sound. Sound and Vision magazine ranked the 2010 release in their top 5 Blu-rays of the year, noting that it was one of only 2 releases to earn 5 stars for its sound, and calling it breathtaking. Based on the length of each extended edition, the feature film, in order to present each film in the highest possible picture quality, each film is presented on 2 Blu-ray discs. The special features are that the set boasts more than 26 hours of additional content, highlighted by the rare behind-the-scenes documentaries created by Costa Boats, the filmmaker given unprecedented access to the sets of each production by Peter Jackson. Costa Boats was able to capture raw and riveting behind-the-scenes film footage. His unique approach to storytelling, allowing the footage to speak for itself, results in an intimate and candid backstage pass to the challenges, preparations and camaraderie that went into shooting the timeless trilogy. The feature-length documentaries, with more than 4.5 hours of footage, focused on the number of complexities and circumstances that tested the filmmakers, cast and crew during the shoot, as well as a look behind the comical antics and personal moments on the set. The extended edition also includes a new transfer of the Fellowship of the Ring, which was remastered from the original 2K digital files, and it all comes in a multi-disc elite packaging inside a premium rigid slipcase. So after a film like that, it's a bit of a come down to mention that the next one out this week is Yogi Bear. Everyone's favourite picnic basket stealing bear brings his meal mooching ways to movies in this live action CG animated adventure starring Dan Aykroyd. What happened to him? As the voice of Jellystone Park's famed troublemaker Yogi Bear. And, oh God, Justin Timberlake as the voice of Yogi's faithful pal, Boo Boo.
An underrated talent, Justin Timberlake. He's good in The Social Network.
Yeah, surprisingly, he's probably one of the best things about it. But just, I don't want to listen to his songs. Jellystone has been losing business, so conniving Mayor Brown has decided to shut it down and sell the land. Faced with the loss of his home, Yogi must prove he really is smarter than the average bear, as he and Boo Boo join forces with Ranger Smith to find a way to save the park from closing forever. Anna Faris, Tom Kavanagh, T.J. Miller and Andrew Daly co-star in this. It says here, wonderful new incarnation of Hanna-Barbera's classic cartoon. The special features include Looney Tunes, Rabid Rider, careful how you say that, Yogi Bear mashup and an interactive map. Now, I haven't seen the trailer for this, and I have no intention of doing so either. You know my thoughts on CGI films for kids.
You're looking at me like I was going to say something. I've not seen it either. But, the trailer did look quite good fun, but it is a kids' film, isn't it? It is what it is. Yeah. So. I just feel sorry for you having to describe it after The Lord of the Rings.
Well, yeah, it's sort of next. I mean, I think Lord of the Rings was like sort of the biggest one out this week, and then somehow it's just the way the random things are. Yogi Bear is the second one. Can you imagine them sitting next to side by side to each other in your average DVD shop? Another film out this week is No Strings Attached. Academy Award winner Natalie Portman and Ashton Kutcher star in the hilarious hit comedy that takes a modern look at what happens when friends in need do the deed. Emma is the busy doctor who sets up a seemingly perfect arrangement, but when she offers her best friend Adam a relationship with one rule, no strings attached. But when a fling becomes a fling, can sex friends stay best friends? So that's no strings attached. I mean, I think we have a different term for it over here, which I can't mention on this time of day on the radio. But anyway, if that was your bag, there's special features on that. Include a commentary with director Ivan Reitman, sex friends getting together, inside the sassy halls of Secret High, modern love, the do's and don'ts, plus deleted scenes and alternate storyline scenes. And other films out this week include Cold Fish, Survivor, Never Let Me Go, The Season of the Witch, another classic there from Nicolas Cage, and Sharpay's Fabulous Adventure. Is that what do you call them? Is that a High School Musical thing?
I have no idea. I have no wish to have any idea.
No. Me neither. It's just that I've heard the name, but
I'm sure I've got all this to come when Natalie's a bit older. I'm sure I'll go through the High School Musical Glee stuff in our house, but I'm quite happy with Rapunzel at the minute.
Well, they moved on to something else, but whatever comes next.
Probably, yeah.
High School Musical 4. the next generation. Blu-ray debuts out this week include The Incredibles and Tenebrae. TV series out this week including American Dad Season 6, Case Histories, which I mentioned a few weeks ago, which I didn't particularly like. Heartbeat Series 4. Ooh, they finally canned that after God knows how many years. Although I read someone, I think it was someone said on Digital Spy that for it's been running about how many years? Something like it's been running about 20 years, and they said that for a film that's set only in the 60s, it's been running 20 years and it's had 15 Christmas specials.
Should be going up to the winter of discontent about now then.
Yeah. That's probably when it got cancelled. Heartland Series 2, Jag Season 10. And if music's your bag, there's even Bad Company live at Wembley. Oh, and another one that's out this week is a re-release of Akira, which I mentioned last week because it had been it'd been given a cinema re-release just before this. Now this super limited collector's edition pack comes with a new remastered edition of Akira on Blu-ray and a bonus DVD disc, along with a specially produced 40-page booklet exclusive to the UK and packaged inside a gorgeous steelbook case. This is a film I've had on video in the past and never got round to seeing, but now it's had a cinema re-release and this week the Blu-ray debut. I watched the trailer and it made little sense for me, but it's one of those cult classics, so I really should make time for it.
It's a very good film.
It's well worth seeing, though.
Oh yeah, Akira's, yeah.
So it's worth getting the Blu-ray box set.
Although I don't see what difference the Blu-ray would make because it's an animation film, so the pictures might be drawn a little bit more sharply.
I thought about that with The Simpsons when they started making that HD. I thought, well, they use finer pencils or something.
Yeah.
It's just
sharpen all the pencils in the box first. You mentioned The Incredibles in that list there, which is another one of those CGI animation films, really for kids, but I think crosses over and it works really well for adults as well.
Yeah.
I think largely because you've got actors in it whose voices are well known and whose character is well known, like Sam Jackson.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed that. I thought that was good.
I've got that recorded from Christmas. I've got about halfway through it so far. I keep meaning to finish it off.
It's very good. It's very funny. Despicable Me is another. It's in a similar vein to the Invincibles as well. That was very funny. We watched that without the kids. It's got a very dry, dark humour about it.
Yeah.
Very good.
I might check that out. Anyway, coming up to the top of the hour now. Coming up in the second hour, we've got a mixture of video games and TV, starting with a review of Homefront on the Xbox 360. But taking us to 1 o'clock, we've got David Bowie and Life on Mars. It's Manchester's 106.6.
106.6.
Can't win them all, Jim. That was Jim Diamond. He should have known better. But I got him a #1 hit, so probably did the right thing. Anyway, you're listening to the DVD Fever Show with Don Robinson, and we're back with my guest today, John Rosling. Hello.
Afternoon.
You all right?
Yes, I'm good.
Good stuff. Now, in this section of the show, we're going to be looking at video games. Well, the second hour, we start off with video games, and then we move on to TV a bit later on. The video game section, we'll have a look at Homefront on the Xbox 360. Top 10 games charts, some new video games releases, including Resident Evil Mercenaries on the Nintendo 3DS, plus some video games news. And then the TV side of things, we'll be looking at Penn and Teller Fool Us on ITV, Sirens on Channel 4, which is on last night. Look ahead to some more programmes coming up, and also some TV news. Now, starting with the video games review, and in Homefront, Kim Jong-il is not just ill, he's now dead. His son, Kim Jong-un, has taken over and managed to unite Korea. Sounds like a good thing, but then they go on to invade the US along with Japan, and so things aren't so good after all. The year is 2027. Your name is Robert Jacobs, and the baddies have struck at America with an EMP, electromagnetic pulse, rendering them useless to protect themselves and fight back at the nuclear-armed Greater Korean Republic, leading to a dystopian future. As the game begins, you're forced out of your apartment and into a bus. En route to a labour camp, your bus is rammed and turned over by some freedom fighters, and a man called Connor sets you free. Once out of the vehicle, you meet up with his cohort Rihanna, and on the run you go. The single-player campaign was written by Hollywood screenwriter John Milius, he of Apocalypse Now and Red Dawn fame. And I did a review about a couple of weeks ago of the new Apocalypse Now Blu-ray release. The fact he's involved doesn't really show, as the paper-thin plot is just there to set you amongst the ruins of an American city. Okay, each game's got to have some kind of setup, but it's the gameplay that's most important, right? I'll have to admit that I'm not one for multiplayer gaming, but I'll throw in the blurb that states that multiplayer support brings epic warfare to the online arena as infantry, tanks, attack helicopters and combat drones battle across huge open battlefields. Homefront's rich feature set, offering layers of tactical depth combined with a game-changing innovation in the multiplayer space, sets a new benchmark in online warfare. Going back to the gameplay, and there's something about it that feels very stilted, as if you're playing something from 3 or 4 years ago. Basically, this is certainly not a Call of Duty Black Ops beta, and shows up in the graphics that are simply just okay. For example, if you run to hide behind a barricade of some sort, the lack of definition of what's in front of you really shows up. The sound is very average too. Yes, it's in Dolby Digital 5.1 as you'd expect, and it's loud, but never expressive in the way a first-person shooter should feel. It just feels quite flat. The artificial intelligence is a bit odd as well. Early on, Connor told me to stay put as part of the enemy were marching past with a tank, and we all had to sort of, keep out of the way to make sure we didn't get spotted. Meanwhile, something had gone wrong, and Rihanna just kept running about in a sort of figure of 8 style. God knows what was going on there, because that would surely attract attention. It's not only then when your companions can keep getting in the way as well. Other random irritations include that sometimes when you get ambushed, you can either die quickly or duck out of the way and let others deal with it for the most part. I don't also want any save points as such while playing a mission. It just auto-saves the latest checkpoint. You can replay a section of or a whole mission upon completion, and there are 7 in total. And there's another weird moment where I couldn't even walk through a turnstile. It just sort of I had to wait for everyone else to go through it, and before I could do it. Also, you can't shoot any items inside houses, leading to a game that just doesn't feel very interactive. You can't go through closed doors that won't allow you to get through them. I mean, I've heard of linear games, but at least let me in and have a look, So there's either not a lot happening, or you're getting shot by all sides. Either way, it's just irritating full stop. Also, you can pick up items along the way, as a lot of games let you do this sort of thing, but with this one, they're either just pieces of news information and not at all interesting or relevant. It's a bit pointless, really. Also, you do end up running out of ammo a hell of a lot of time. Overall, graphics I give them 6 out of 10, sound 5. Then things will go downhill. We have playability and enjoyment, just 4 out of 10. So it works out at sort of 5 out of 10 overall. So not one to go for. And I mentioned Crisis 2, which came out sort of recently as well. I mentioned that one last week, and that was so much better. Everything about that. I mean, that was basically the game that the Homefront should have been. It was just crash bang wallop and felt like World War III was going on in your street. So yeah, forget Homefront and get Crisis 2 instead. So anyway, how are you with video games, John?
Not particularly a big gamer. I used to play a couple of the PC games a few years ago. Mostly multiplayer shoot-em-ups and simulator games, flight simulator games, but it's not really something that attracts me. The only thing that's attracted me about gaming in recent years has been these cinematic video trailers that have been produced to promote games. I mean, the one that's always sticks in my mind is the Halo one, with these little kids laying in the field looking at the stars, and then it suddenly cuts to this great battlefield, and it's the main character remembering his past. Some of the BioWare trailers that have come out for the new Star Wars games as well, the Old Republic and Force Unleashed 2, are so impressive. Yeah. In terms of not just the quality of the CG, but the direction of them and how they extend the stories. It's really, really impressive, and that's really my only interest in it at the moment. It's not just something I do, it's not something I do or particularly have time to do.
You get the film aspect of it.
Yeah.
Nice one.
And it's incredible to see how the technology's come on, and so that you can immerse yourself in a game, almost as if you're in a film. Yeah, almost as if you're playing a character's part in a film.
That's a good point. Yeah. But before we have a look at the video games charts, we're going to have another song, and we're going to have Robert Palmer with Mercy, Mercy Me. This is Manchester's 106.6.
106.6.
That was Robert Palmer with Mercy, Mercy Me. You're back on Manchester's 106.6, and this is a DVD Fever show with Dom Robinson and special guest John Rosling. Hello.
Hello.
You alright still?
I am still.
Good. Now this section we're going to have a look at the top 10 games charts, going back up to number 1. This has been up and down like a yo-yo. That's Zumba Fitness. Going straight in at number 2, we've got The Legend of Zelda, Ocarina of Time 3D. This particular one is a reimagining of the original Nintendo 64 classic from 1998. And the game features the full original game, graphically overhauled in the glasses-free 3D, made possible by the 3DS. Along with this, the game includes all new challenges unique to this release, including a Master Quest, a new boss challenge mode that allows for flexibility in how you face bosses, and in-game video segments. And in-game video segments. The game couples phenomenally enhanced graphics with stunning Glasses 3D visuals to bring to life the daring adventures of its hero Link. A streamlined touchscreen interface and newly implemented motion controls provide a fresh and intuitive feel as players immerse themselves in the tale of creation of Hyrule and the struggle for control of its all-powerful ancient relic. The game will also feature new challenges not included in the original game. The Legend of Zelda veterans can look forward to the Master Quest, a second quest with revamped puzzles and redesigned dungeons that feature the same graphical interface upgrades as the main game. The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time 3D is a masterful improvement on one of the landmark releases in video game history. Now, I never had a Nintendo 64 and I haven't got a 3DS. I mean, the Link games, so anything to do with role-playing games aren't really my bag anyway, but isn't this a bit desperate of Nintendo to rehash a 13-year-old game for a new handheld? The 3DS has come under fire for a lot of games not being exactly fantastic, and sometimes the eye strain can cause people to reduce or switch off the 3D effects, which rather kills the point of having one. The other games in the top 10 this week. Down to number 3, we've got Duke Nukem Forever. Down to number 4, LA Noire. Up to number 5, we've got Brink. Down to 6, Lego Pirates of the Caribbean. Down to 7 rather, we've got Dirt 3. Then down to number 8, Infamous 2. Number 9, we've got Dungeon Siege 3 Limited Edition. And up to number 10, just hanging in on there, the FIFA 11. Other new titles out of the week, including number 13, Alice Madness Returns. And number 25, Child of Eden. And there's also some re-entries, including number 33, F1 2010, number 34, Need for Speed Hot Pursuit. Got Fight Night Champion at 37, Battlefield Bad Company 2 at 38, and Sniper Ghost Warrior at number 40. And also taking a look at some of the new titles out this week. We've got another 3DS title. We've got Resident Evil The Mercenaries out on Nintendo 3DS. And for the first time, Resident Evil The Mercenaries 3D delivers the intense Mercenaries gameplay experience on a handheld console. Featuring remastered stages from Resident Evil 4 and 5, it's a race against time as the players try and defeat as many enemies as possible before the countdown reaches 0. The fast-paced, combat-intensive action of Resident Evil The Mercenaries 3D is available both as a solo experience, or gamers across the world can team up and enjoy two-player co-op via network play. Gamers will also have the opportunity to tackle the in-game missions, or game's missions with legendary Resident Evil characters from past and present. These include Chris Redfield, Krauser, Hunk, and making a debut in a Mercenaries game, Claire Redfield. While the gameplay will be familiar to those who have previously played Mercenaries, changes have been implemented to take advantage of the new hardware, most notably transforming the stages and characters to full 3D, plus the ability for players to move and shoot, and the addition of touchscreen functionality to switch weapons on the fly. Also, purchasers of this game will get a taste of the horror to come, thanks to an addition of a playable demo of Resident Evil Revelations. Now, I was into Resident Evil in the early days of the PlayStation, and it was also one of those few games that can actually scare me. But after a few titles, they all seem to end up on the Wii anyway, and just turn into basically third-person shooters, taking away how they originally were, and they just seem to just lose the plot completely. Other games out this week, there's gameplay trailers on the Facebook page for the Resident Evil game, plus also a couple of other titles out this week. One which is UFC Personal Trainer, which you can use on the Xbox 360, PS3 and Wii. Now I looked at the one for the Xbox. The trailer makes it basically look like a game that makes reasonable use of the Kinect system, as it's like just an upcoming fighting and fitness video game. But if you're into UFC, then it may be one for you. The other one is Dynasty Warriors Gundam 3. And basically for me it's just sort of features a lot of Japanese fantasy fighting action. It's something I could easily give a miss to. It's the kind of thing that you either like it or you won't. Games also out this week include Revenge of the Titans, Maestro Music of Death, Storm Frontline Nations, and the Tour de France 2011. So that's your top 10 charts and also the new releases out this week. In a moment we're going to have some video games news, but first of all we'll have Robin who'll be showing us some love. This is Manchester's 106.6.
106.6.
That was Robin with Show Me Love, which I actually thought was going to be a dance song, so I'm not quite sure what song I'm thinking of. Something else with...
There is a dance song called Show Me Love. I don't think... Well, it's obviously not that one.
Is it different, Robin? I'll have to search for that one later. Anyway, you're back on the DVD Fever Show with Don Robinson on Manchester 106.6, and we're back again with John Rosling. Hello.
Hello. I was surprised when you said Dynasty Warriors there. I thought it was going to be some kind of computer game where Blake Carrington and 80s perms all with massive shoulder pads attack each other, or you have to go around looking for the alter ego of Joan Collins with a submachine gun and...
Who would you kill, or is it the bad guy? I'm trying to think of the bad guys. Or is that... Oh, you have a battle between the Colbys and
the Colbys and the Carringtons, wasn't it, Dynasty? From what I remember of being forced to watch it when my mother was watching it in the 80s.
I think that's the kind of thing I could easily get addicted to when I was a kid, but I do remember watching them.
Yeah, those 80s, the Dallas and those kind of big soaps.
Yeah.
Not quite the Forsyte saga, but... I don't think we did things quite differently in Britain, didn't we, in the 80s?
Just slightly. In this section, we're going to have a look at some video games news. And the first thing we're looking at is about the Xbox 360 is going to apparently possibly support free-to-play games. Microsoft is pursuing free-to-play games for the Xbox 360, it has been claimed. To support the games, the Xbox operating system will apparently incorporate a microtransaction service to allow for in-game items to be instantly exchanged for Microsoft points as payment. Steam launched five free-to-play games on the service last week: Spiral Knights, Forsaken Worlds, Champions Online Free for All, Global Agenda Free Agent, and Alliance of Valiant Arms. And Valve's own Team Fortress 2 has now become free-to-play. The trend of free-to-play games began on Facebook and on mobile devices, with games that had no initial cost, but were supported through microtransaction payments for in-game items. Another thing out this week is that possible PlayStation 3 price drop planned for August. Now, Sony will announce a reduction for the console during its Gamescom press conference in Cologne, Germany. Trade insiders want a price of £199.99, while retail is hoping that Sony will go as low as £179.99. Such a price drop will be welcomed by retail to help fuel interest in console purchases. This year, the software market has declined by £50 million year on year. The Xbox 360 could be given a similar price drop or additional Kinect bundles in response to any cheap PlayStation 3 deals.
I think I might be able to persuade my missus to get me a PlayStation 3 then if they drop the price down like that.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think the Wii's dropped to about 130 quid.
Yeah, they were always less expensive though, weren't they?
Oh, yeah. But it sort of puts pressure on the others, doesn't it?
Yeah. So I could get back to gaming.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Having gone away from it.
Well, just say it's all, just mention about the film aspect of it.
Yeah, it's research.
Yeah, just say you're going to be thinking about making some intros and trailers for the games.
Well, the thing is, it's a Blu-ray player as well, the PS3, isn't it? So it would save me having to buy a Blu-ray player, which was something I was considering doing anyway.
So that's, going to be later on this year. Planned possibly for August. That's only a month or two away. So it's worth having a look for that. Now, I've also got something about a new PlayStation 3 model has been unveiled by Sony to lower power consumption. The 320GB system will feature low power consumption. Doesn't seem to be dropping by much. It's only saying from 230 watts to 200 watts, as well as a weight reduction from 3 kilograms to 2.6 kilograms. External changes include new power and eject buttons, as well as the removal of LED lights. Now, I haven't used a PS3 myself, but I like the little addition of LED lights and everything, because you sort of, when you get everything set up, you then switch the lights off when you go to bed, and those things that are still on, it sort of looks like it sort of makes your room more futuristic looking.
A little Christmas tree when you were a kid.
Yeah,
one of those in your bedroom.
The model will replace the existing 320GB system in Japan within the next few months. European and North American releases have not been confirmed, and the current 320GB system retails at £279 in the UK. It's not said what size hard drive will be on the one that's going to be reduced to under £200 though in August. Also, a hack-proof PlayStation 3 was rumoured to be in development by Sony earlier this year.
I believe that when I see it.
And also one other bit of news. The PlayStation Vita, which is going to be the successor to the PSP, is to miss 2011 in Europe. Sony are going to delay the handheld past Christmas for a January or February 2012 release. Sony know it's effectively gifting the festive handheld market to the 3DS, but is still really confident of a success, said a senior retail source. They want the hardcore to buy first and then spread the word. It's a blow, but they think they can still do that without the Christmas sales boost. Meanwhile, the developer told VG247 that a 2012 European release is a certainty. Sony will most likely confirm a European release schedule and pricing at Gamescom in Cologne in August. Earlier this week, retailer Shop2 suggested a November the 4th release date for the PlayStation Vita, as well as a £40 price point on games. I mean, would you really spend that for handheld games? The PlayStation Vita has been priced at £230 for a Wi-Fi only model by UK retailers, and is thought to be region free. PlayStation Vita was revealed and priced for the US during Sony's E3 2011 press conference earlier this month. Okay, so that's all your video games news for this week, and in a moment we're going to have a look at the TV stuff out, including a look at Fool Us with Penn and Teller and Sirens. But before we do that, we're going to have some music first, and we've got Howard Jones, No One Is to Blame. This is Manchester's 106.6.
106.6.
That was Howard Jones and No One Is to Blame, although if, like, earlier on when I forgot to put one of the faders up, then that definitely was me to blame, because you couldn't hear John. Anyway, you're back on the DVD Fever show with Don Robinson on Manchester's 106.6, and we're back again with John Rosling. Hello.
Hello.
And in this section we're going to be having a look at some TV stuff, starting with TV programmes watched in the past week. We've got a couple of things there. We've got starting off with Fool Us with Penn and Teller, which was on Saturday. Jonathan Ross hosts a new series in which world-famous magical double act Penn and Teller challenge aspiring illusionists to perform their most baffling trick in front of a studio audience. If the hopefuls manage to fool the grandmasters of magic, they win the right to perform with a duo in Las Vegas. In the first show, well, I'll go into detail with what's coming up, with some of the acts on there. But after facing the challenges, Penn and Teller will close the show. Well, they close the show with a fantastic new trick of their own. Well, it was meant to be a new trick, but someone pointed out on Digital Spy afterwards. It was one they were doing about 10 years ago. And I saw the one off at New Year, and it was okay, but I don't know whether it's something I'd care to watch, on a regular basis, and this one proved it. Three of the acts who were on, there's a guy called Mark Shortland, who was first coming onto the stage, the Lightning Seeds Lucky You, which the Halifax have ruined with their terrible adverts. So he's off to a bad start already. He had 6 sealed envelopes, all marked with the word random, filling them with mobile phones, except for one that was Jonathan Ross's own mobile phone. After throwing a dice inside a box, it came up with a random number. Ross would then batter the numbered packet, going through them all, one by one, until there was just one left. As expected, this contained Ross's phone, unharmed. But how did he do it? Penn and Teller didn't seem to know at first, and they even looked at the dice box to see if they could figure it out from there. Or did they think it was a trick of the dice? I wasn't clear. At first it seemed that they had been fooled with it, but later on it said that only one act out of the evening had gone through, and it certainly wasn't this one, so I think it was just a trick of the dice. Did you watch that one, John?
I didn't know. I caught the guy at the end I think he was doing card tricks with them, but I didn't see that one other than in the highlights at the very end of the programme.
Yeah.
So did he not explain how he did it?
I think they sort of intimated it a bit. I think they had I think the dice, from what I can try and remember, they had 2 of the numbers on it were the same, So there's sort of there are only 5 possible combinations. And so if Jonathan Ross puts his phone in the envelope that's got the missing number on, then it's going to be perfectly fine. So he must have known which one to put it in. Second guy was a guy called Matthew Bish. Using a deck of cards and sleight of hand, a card was selected at random by throwing a beach ball around the audience, and whoever got it were told to select. This is just basically, finding things at random. The first one was told to select red and black, and when they went for red. The second one was hearts or diamonds. They went for diamonds. The third one went low or high. They went for high. And the fourth one was given an option of numbers from 7 up to the ace, and they picked 9. In the end, after using the pack of cards on the desk in front of Matthew Bish, he just sort of spread them out in front of them. It's difficult to describe if you haven't seen it, but it just spelled out in words, "Your card is the 9 of diamonds." Now, Penn and Teller didn't get how he did this. Penn suggested he had 2 or 3 decks of cards, but the guy opened up his box with the word "no" written inside, as if he was preempting it. So basically they couldn't figure it out, so he was off to Vegas. And there was also another intriguing one. There's 2 lads called Young and Strange. First of all, they placed this red box on top of a roll of lino. Richard Young gets into the box and it's locked. Well, the other guy, Strange, he runs around it, puts a screen in front, then Strange runs behind a screen, and out pops Young from the other side. Young then opens the box to reveal a woman inside, while Strange runs back onto the stage from the back of the auditorium. How did they do it? Well, it's suggested that the woman was already inside the box, and the lads were actually 2 sets of twins, which I didn't twig originally. One of whom was placed at the back of the room, and the other one was hiding behind the screen. Overall, I thought it was, a decent piece of entertainment, but I think I've no intention to watch any more.
Didn't they catch a frame of, on that trick with the guy turning into the woman in the box? Didn't they catch a frame of the whole box mechanism at work, and you could see how the trick was done? I think they revealed it at the end of the programme.
Right.
They said, you were quick, but you weren't quick enough for the cameras, and there was this shot from an unusual angle.
So just caught him.
Yeah, where you could see the actual trick being done.
Mm.
And I think that's why they didn't fool them.
No, I mean, it's sort of. I think someone suggested it's the kind of thing that's probably been done before, so but it's probably sort of thrown in for a bit of entertainment value. it was quite entertaining. But there's something else that was on this week, and it's a program called Sirens, which is on Channel 4 last night at 10 o'clock, and the next episode's on 10 o'clock as well. British Comedy Award winner Cavan Novak, Rhys Thomas and Richard Madden star in a 6-part comedy series from Brian Phillis, inspired by Tom Reynolds' book Blood, Sweat and Tea. To the outside world, Stuart, Ashley and Rashid look like angels of mercy. To their colleagues, they're a trio of pedantic know-alls, and to the career alcoholics of late-night revellers on the swarming streets of Leeds, they're nothing more than glorified taxi drivers with a one drop-off point, accident and emergency. In the opening episode, the team attend a major road traffic collision, where Stuart takes a radical decision to give an open heart massage to jumpstart a woman's heart. Back at A&E, the lads feel the effects of the shock and adrenaline and are forced to see the hospital counsellor. The idea was that the paramedics suffered the trauma of the event by feeling on the up. Well, the episode was called Up, Horny, Down. So the idea was they suffered the trauma of the event by feeling on the up, then by spending most of the episode feeling horny and trying to deal with it, and then having it come down. Now, I wasn't wowed by the trailer, but the mix of dry humour amongst the ambulance men, based on Tom Reynolds' experience, worked really well. Although, if that can be stretched to 6 episodes, I can't say really. I think it's going to make for quite a long series. Rhys Thomas was basically as he always is. Cavan Novak was almost as thick as his character in 4 Lions, and I've never seen Richard Madden before. It also stars a gorgeous Amy Beth Hayes, who plays Stuart's policewoman friend Maxine, and at first it was intimated that she was his girlfriend, but that wasn't the case in the end. So worth having a look anyway. I say they might get a repeat during the week, but that's next next Monday at 10 o'clock. And now we're going to the one thing that's out this it's on tonight actually, the return of Ramsay's Kitchen Nightmares USA, which is on at 10 o'clock on Channel 4 tonight. Gordon Ramsay is back with a fourth series of Kitchen Nightmares USA, where once again he's heading stateside in a bid to rescue failing restaurant owners from imminent disaster. In this episode, Gordon travels to New Jersey to visit the Spanish Pavilion, a family-run business whose owners, brothers Michael and Jerry, have allowed their power struggles and differences to compromise the quality of the restaurant. With head chef consistently absent from the kitchen and unhappy staff constantly text messaging each other rather than working, Gordon is determined to transform the outdated atmosphere and menu in order to keep the family business afloat. Gordon is shocked to see both owners spend more time engaging in heated arguments than paying attention to the lifespan of the lobsters in their fish tanks and raw meals being served to the diners. Nice. Now, I do enjoy this show, but while it's good to see it back in a primetime slot, it's odd that the last time they showed a new episode, around about a year ago, it was bumped to a late slot and given zero publicity, as if they'd given up on it altogether. Still, times are more dumbed down now, and it does make for cheap filler. So, are you going to be watching this one, John?
I will, yeah. I'd love. I like Gordon Ramsay's TV programmes. I like Gordon Ramsay's food as well. It's very good. It's one way of describing it. The TV programmes, I think, are brilliant, and he's got that kind of personality, hasn't he, where he's absolutely awful to people on occasions, but you just have to watch all of the time. Particularly good when he goes over to the States and you see some of the conditions in which people are cooking and serving food over in the States, because given that they're such big eaters in America and such fussy eaters as well, very particular, it's incredible some of the places that he comes across. So yeah, I will be watching that. I'll be looking forward to it.
Good. Well, at this point in the show we're going to be having another song, and then we're going to be giving you a bit of TV news up to the top of the hour. So the song we're going to have is Razorlight and America. You're listening to Manchester's 106.6.
106.6.
That was Razorlight with
You see, I got my coffee in early, so I didn't do that.
I wasn't expecting that. Yeah, that's Razorlight with America, as you gathered. And listen to the DVD Fever show with Dom Robinson, and we're back again with John Rosling.
Hello.
Now, in this section, to take us up to the top of the hour, we've got a bit of TV news for you. And the first news is that there's to be fewer Doctor Who episodes in 2012. This is because of writer Stephen Moffat's commitments to BBC One drama Sherlock, the channel's controller has said. Danny Cohen told the Derbyshire Media Conference that the Moffat, quote-unquote, needs enough time to get that done and then start work on the next series of Doctor Who. And that meant there would be not as many episodes of Doctor Who next year, that he added. But Moffat later wrote on Twitter that scheduling of Doctor Who had nothing to do with Sherlock. Doctor Who is one of the BBC's flagship shows. The series typically runs for 13 episodes every year. Last week, the BBC announced that they were filming 14 new Doctor Who episodes, including a Christmas special, to be broadcast from next year. But Cohen said that not all of the commissioned stories will be transmitted in 2012. There will be some episodes, but there won't be a full series, so we won't have a 13-part run, he told the audience at the Church Media Conference. Moffat is one of the BBC One's key writers who oversees all Doctor Who episodes. He's also one of Sherlock's executive producers and is currently writing one of the show's three new episodes. There's only so many hours a day he can be awake, Cohen said, referring to Moffat's workload. The man has to sleep and eat, and he's got a family. Both programmes attract high viewing figures, and between them received 5 nominations at May's TV BAFTAs, with Sherlock winning 2 prizes. Stephen Moffat is a creative driving force behind Doctor Who. He also, rather magically at the same time, created and got to air Sherlock. So we have to get that balance right, Mr. Cohen said. There will be more episodes again in 2013 for the 50th anniversary of Doctor Who, so that'll be a big year. The remaining 6 episodes of the current series will air on BBC One later this year. What do you make of the first half of... Are you watching Doctor Who?
Yeah, quite a big follower of Doctor Who. Not when it started straight away with Christopher Eccleston, I wasn't too bothered about it because I think it had been off TV for so long. Yeah. But then we became very big fans of David Tennant's Doctor, and my little girl has got a real thing with Amy Pond. Yeah. So she kind of watches we watch the new series religiously because Natalie really looks up to Amy in it. And I've really enjoyed them. I think Matt Smith settled into it really, really well.
Yeah.
And a lot of people have criticised the splitting of the series this year, you know, splitting it into two halves, one at the start of the year and one at the end. But I think that's a good idea, because I think it keeps people's appetites whetted.
Yeah, better than having 13 in one slot, and then people might get bored partway through.
And I think that's what tends to happen. I know on various forums I've been on, people, they kind of get a little bit fed up with it, and they kind of it gets a bit tired over a 13-week run.
Yeah.
So,
got one other bit of news out this week. Gordon Ramsay's US show has been doctored. Now, obviously the new series starts tonight, as I mentioned earlier, but Gordon Ramsay was hit by a major embarrassment after his US show was caught doctoring a scene to double the size of a crowd. The British chef is one of the judges and co-producers on the American version of the cooking competition show MasterChef, whose second season was launched with a huge fanfare a few weeks ago. It appears, though, that not too many people were keen to take part in the show. Viewers spotted that a scene of a crowd waiting in line to audition for the show had been doctored to almost double the number of people in the shot. Still images show that at least 3 clusters of people were digitally reproduced in one of the opening shots of this week's 5th episode in the series. The show's producers apologised about the enhanced shot, saying we have reviewed our footage and it is clear the scene was enhanced in post-production. Reveille Productions, who produced the show along with Shine TV, said in a statement, "We sincerely apologise to our viewers and hope they still enjoyed the show." Well, I don't know whether we'll be getting that one over here, but if they do, I'd probably stick it on ITV2 or something. That actually brings us to the end of the show today. So thank you very much, John, for coming in.
no problem.
So you can see, if you look on the search for the DVD Fever Show with Don Robinson on Facebook,